President Obama is back at the United Nations this morning after getting Russia to consider new sanctions against Iran's nuclear program. In an exclusive interview, Iran's president told Katie Couric that his country has no plans to give that program up.
We have not actually changed our mind. Our nuclear file will be pursued in the IAEA.
CBS News national security analyst Juan Zarate joins us this morning from Washington. Good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
So we have this interesting meeting yesterday with President Obama and Dmitry Medvedev, and all of a sudden they're pals, they're shaking hands, everybody's beaming because Russia suddenly says, you know what, maybe we are interested in sanctions against Iran. How big a breakthrough is this?
Well, this is an important development, in part because President Medvedev used the term sanctions, the possibility of sanctions, and that's good news. That said, it's, I think, a little too early to tell what that means in concrete. People need to remember that since 2006, there have been 3 resolutions with respect to Iran, and that the substance of the sanctions has repeatedly been watered down by the Russians and the Chinese. And so we need to see what comes out of the sanctions themselves. In addition, there's a timeline here that may differ. The United States may feel a sense of urgency to this, whereas the Russians, the Chinese, and others may have a different timeline.
But there's this big meeting in Geneva with Iran coming up, and is there not this sense, though, because all of a sudden, along with saying we're not going to abandon our nuclear program, suddenly Iran is saying, well, yeah, maybe we'll let the inspectors in again.
Well, this is also an interesting development. I think Iran and President Ahmadinejad are being very crafty and clever here because they're providing what may appear to be some openings but may not be substantive at the end of the day. But I think you're right, Harry. The October 1st meeting, the diplomatic meeting, will be very telling whether or not the Iranians are willing to talk about their nuclear program in the first instance, and then the reaction of the allies meeting with Iran. And their reaction as to whether or not sanctions will be necessary and the timeline for those.
One other question on a completely different subject, very quickly. The president sat down and met with Benjamin Netanyahu and Mahmoud Abbas 2 days ago. This trying to urge them to get ready and sit down and start some sort of a peace process. Do you think anything will happen on that before the end of the year?
Well, I think that's a primary goal for President Obama. I think George Mitchell's been doing fantastic legwork to try to start those. I think there's no hope on the horizon that I can tell that either side will restart talks, but we'll see.
All right, Juan Zarate, thank you very much for your help this morning. Do appreciate it, as always.